Acts chapter 20. Have you ever been reading along in the Bible and I don't know what other way to put it. You're reading along and something strange happens, something kind of out of the ordinary, out of left field, if you will, happens. Every once in a while you get that in the scriptures you're reading along. You know about it, but when you're reading along, you say, oh, that's really strange. It happens in Acts chapter 20. Paul is in the city of Troas and he's preaching. And he's heading back. This is his third missionary journey. He's heading back to Jerusalem. He'll be going through Ephesus, then he'll be going on to Caesarea, Jerusalem, and so forth. And that'll be the end of his missionary journeys. But he's in the city of Troas and he's preaching evidently on the third floor of this building. There are many lights, he said. And it says here, verse 7, chapter 20, on the first day of the week when we were gathered together to break bread, Paul began talking to them, intended to leave the next day. And he prolonged his message until midnight. There were many lamps in the upper room where we were gathered together. And there was a young man named Eutychus sitting on the windowsill, sinking in a deep sleep. And as Paul kept on talking, he was overcome by sleep and fell down from the third floor and was picked up dead. It's like you're reading Acts, you're going along, and then suddenly this guy falls out a window and dies. It's like, what? It's kind of strange, isn't it? To me it is, anyway. But what's also strange about this is the word Eutychus, the name Eutychus means good fortune. It means lucky. So he didn't have much luck that day, did he? But anyway, in all of this, this is one of the most comforting scriptures to me for preachers that has ever been written. Because if Paul can put somebody to sleep, anybody can. So anyway, so it's very comforting to me to know that I'm in good company. So anyway, so here's this young man. He's listening. Paul's prolonging his message. We don't know how long he's preached. He preaches until up to midnight. This accident happens. I'm sure everything ceased at that point. You notice what happens down here in verse 10. He says, but Paul went down and fell upon him, and after embracing him, he said, do not be troubled, for his life is in him. When he had gone back up and had broken bread and eaten, he talked with them a long while until daybreak, and then left. They took away the boy alive and were greatly comforted. You know, I think, to me, things happen for a reason in Scripture. Not that Eutychus, his death was something that God had planned, but that God uses situations in our lives to bring about good things, even tragedies. Because here we see this young man who fell out of the window and obviously got killed. And Paul went down there and raised him up. Could you imagine by doing that how his message that he preached at midnight was confirmed in the hearts of those people? Wasn't it? I mean, he preached and preached and preached and preached and preached. He's putting people to sleep. He's preaching the gospel. He's preaching what people need to know. And when he goes down there and he raises that boy from the dead, all the people that were listening to him and watching him, everything that he had said was absolutely and totally put in concrete in their hearts, wouldn't you say? A lot of people woke up at that time. It'd wake me up, I'll tell you that much. And I'm convinced by this, that even though God didn't plan for Eutychus to necessarily fall out of that window and die, that God doesn't necessarily plan all the tragedies we have in our lives either, or the problems that we have. But in all of those, I think God, if we allow him, can bring good out of those things. Whether it be for us or whether it be for somebody else. Somebody watching us going through a tragedy. How does that person handle that? They're a Christian. How do they handle that? Or this problem here, or that issue over there. And God can take any situation and make it into something for his glory. If we but let him. If we but let him. And so, when we look at Eutychus, even though it was a terrible, terrible accident, God, I believe, used it for something great. He used it for something great. So as we think about these things tonight, if there's anyone here that needs anything at all, prayers or whatever the situation in your life may be, please come as we stand and sing this song.